Friday, we went to our favorite U-Pick apple orchard. Also, our new apple peeler arrived. So this is a bit of a comparison with the old apple peeler with our new apple peeler. So the old one that we had clamped onto the edge of a counter. For our kitchen, that means we've got one place we can put it, and that's where the dishwasher door is. And it also means we can't close the door when we're doing apples, so it kind of sticks in the way. And because it hangs over the edge, it also, after you peel a few apples, it starts leaking juice down the edge. So we always put a paper towel under this edge to help soak it up before it goes down. But we've been using this for more than 20 years and we're perfectly happy with it until we got a new one and found out some of the issues with this one by comparison to the new ones. Number one piece on this, the spring that holds this piece down, this piece goes into the grooves as the follower for the threads so that it winds itself forward. This spring on this is incredibly strong, immensely stronger than it needs to be, I'm sure. This thing is made out of, I don't know, magnesium, zinc, some kind of cast metal that's not iron. So because of this high pressure on there and the edges on here that kind of cut, the hole is no longer round and is no longer the right size. Didn't realize how bad it was getting, again, until we compared it with the new one. Yeah, it can move about a half an inch. Yeah, it's being pulled down and it's made this hole kind of an oval. The parts that I have liked about it is the thin slices and the way that this piece catches the peeler portion of it when you don't want to use it, so it's real quick and easy to use. And I think that's about it. Okay, I'm going to take it off the counter. You can see how much movement it has there. And the rear hole also got big, so the whole thing just flops around inside here. It can go far enough that it could actually go on the outside of the core cutter. Yeah, so it moves that much. Okay, let's put that aside and go on to the new one. Dun, 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 dun. We should introduce this thing. This is the apple peeler from Johnny Apple Peeler, or I guess it's from Roots and Branches, and this is the Johnny Apple Peeler. Yeah, so far been real good. We've peeled about 85 pounds of apples with it, or sliced, not necessarily peeled them all, and it seems to work real well. So the new one. The new one's a suction cup one. Some of the reviews we've seen said that the suction cup doesn't stick well. Well, what we did is first make sure the counter is very clean. Second, we get the bottom of it slightly damp and then plunk it down there and lock it in. We had it stay overnight this way, had no problem at all. It's actually more firm than the one that was attached to the counter. The slices are a little bit thicker. These are about 1/4 inch, the others were about 3/16, and that doesn't really matter, it's just whatever preference. So, but these have been real nice. The piece that holds it has far, far less pressure, and this is cast iron, so it would take a lot more time to wear through any of this to make the whole oval. So we should be good for a lot of years. Okay, on this, to hold the peeler back, it uses this little lever over here, and it just has a little catch, a little step piece, and that works. I kind of liked the other one, but that works. The spring on this one is a little bit stronger. So with a squishy apple or something, or a pear, it might cut too deep. So I'm not sure how that's going to work overall. But we don't peel everything anyway, so I don't know how that's going to be a problem. Okay, another piece is, and I'd have to get a different angle. The cutter piece on this one is quite a bit thicker or wider than the other one, and I think that helps keep it stiffer, and so that seems to be good. Okay. This uses prongs that appeared to be screwed in, so if you had a problem you could probably replace these. On our old one, the prongs are part of this cast piece, so if these snap off you have to buy a whole piece in there. There's no way to fix that. And plus it's a little bit more brittle, I think, because of the casting, whereas this I think is going to be a little more resilient on that. But this one also screws on to the same place, so we can always switch it. So we have two that we can use. And also, the original shaft will fit in this same machine, so if we want our thinner slices, we can still get it. But you can also order the thin slices for this. Yeah, you can get this is what we have, is the standard slice. And then you can also get the thin slice one. But so far I'm real happy with that thicker slice. And besides apples, you can use this for slicing potatoes or making shoestring potatoes. Just realized I should probably mention about the peel thickness. So this blade comes off for easy cleaning, and the whole thing cleans real easily. So this is just a horseshoe-shaped blade, and it's sharp all along the bottom edge. And then the bottom of this, so the bottom of this is kind of wedge-shaped or angled, so it follows the apple as you're rotating it around. And the blade, they are replaceable, but we've been using our original one from 20-some years ago. We have sharpened it a few times. It's a little bit tricky because the bevel is on the inside, but you can do it with a little Dremel or something, a sanding wheel. And then this has an oval slot in it, and the wing nut goes in there. And then that allows for some adjustment in and out to get the thickness of peel you want, or if you're doing like shoestrings potatoes, then you crank it all the way in and you can get a nice big slice of potato out of there. We haven't done that, didn't even think of that, but it was in the new instruction manual and actually seemed kind of interesting. Yeah, so we'll rotate that up a little bit. Yeah, so you can see that it has a very big space in there if you push it all the way up. For the apples, we try to put it down to whatever the minimum is that will peel the apple, all of it, and get the least amount of actual apple. So we'll pull it down, start with it a little bit, what we think might be a little low, and then we can raise it a little at a time until it gets just enough of the peel. Same with the end piece. It has a little bit of a slot in there also, so once you take it apart, if you put this all the way forward, then you can adjust it so that this is centered in it without hitting it. And it doesn't have a lot of play, unlike our old one, so it goes in that center real nicely. But anyway, that gives you the adjustment for up, down, a little bit left to right. Okay, then after the apple's peeled, then you can push this little lever or pull this one down here, and that releases the follower piece, and then you can just pop the core off, and then you can press this or this, whatever is most convenient. If you do this one, then you have to kind of cross over. I usually do this, and then just pull it back, and you're ready for the next apple. Yeah. And again, we'll be able to use our old shaft on this one also. We've already tested it, works nice. But I've been real happy with the thicker slices, so don't know how much we'll use that. But we'll keep it for a backup. So I have a laser pointing right through the center of the hole and right straight through there. So then I can put the apple on and center the stem end and then just line it up so the center of the blossom end, and as I press, just kind of keep it lined up. That's funny. Oh yeah. And these are going to be not peeled. This is the way we usually do it. We just peel and slice. I mean, slice and core, but don't peel for most of our freeze-dried. The other ones were for pies or fillings and things. All right, and so then we just slice and core without peeling. I meant to do that. Okay, and pull that back. Get the stem end in there again. Center of the blossom end. Here's how we did the high-tech targeting system. So before next year's apples, we'll probably buy a little laser, either a cat toy or one of the presentation lasers. I would just make sure that the light can be locked in the on position. Some of the toys or presentations ones are just momentary buttons. I want one that's locked on so that you can just leave it sitting on a box, or a stack of Legos would probably be perfect. So anyway, you can get this kind of little thermometer thing for under 20 bucks. But I think that the little pen one's going to be easier to set there and use. But use what you have. No reason to get something new if you have something like this. It seems to do real well. And we used it for days cutting 85 pounds of apples, and the battery was old at the time and it's still working. So it doesn't use too much power. It did a good job. So we just rubber banded the switch on, set it on top of a box. It just happened to be the right height. Line it up with the center of the hole and the center of the shaft, and then we can put the apple on. I've seen some people put the apple on with the stem side toward the cutter. I would never do that, because if your stem is longer, it's going to end up hitting the cutter, and it could damage the blade, either the sharpness or even bend it if it's a strong one. So I just don't go that way. So I center the stem end on the pegs, and then you can center the blossom end right in the middle of the laser, and then slowly push it on, keeping the laser lined up with the blossom end. And that gives you a nice centered apple. It peels really nicely. All right, that's nice. And the core is slightly bigger than the other one. So one of the things we look for when we're peeling it is if it leaves a big area sticking through of the seeds and things, that means you've got core inside there that has to be cut out. That's not bad though. That one has a core in it. Okay, so sometimes if the core is bigger, it leaves part of it inside. So what I've been doing is get rid of the pieces that don't have that issue, and then you can just take a scoop and just scoop out the little bit of core.